Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's 2:53 a.m. I'm headed out. I'm on my way to the gym right now. I'm going to talk to you about complaining. Complaining and how it's detrimental to your success. See, and I'm also going to point out a fact on why most people won't make it in life. I heard a story. I went back and started listening to Jim Rohn. Now, I got to tell you something. When I wanted to start changing my life, he was one of the people that I would listen to the most because I didn't know then what I know now, which is he's always been talking about things that were in the Bible. It just really kind of took me exploring through some different avenues to come to the conclusion that this man had a strong faith base, which led to a lot of the reason why he was successful. He did not come from money. He did not come from wealth. He was not brought up like that. A lot like a Tony Robbins, a very self-made individual, which for me gave hope to the fact that it's possible. And he told the story about Mickey Mantle. He said how Mickey Mantle was his favorite baseball player. He was his idol. And how Mickey Mantle was playing for the New York Yankees. He was considered the fastest man in baseball. He was considered the home run king. He was the man. He was that guy. And he says that Mickey Mantle would sometimes get into hitting slumps. He would get into hitting slumps where he couldn't hit a beach ball flying over home plate. And a reporter came up to Mickey Mantle and said, "Mickey, what do you do when you're going through a slump? What do you change?" And this was interesting because I never heard this story told, even though I may have heard it. You never know what you heard, when you heard it, if you're not in the right state of mind maturity-wise. But he says, I don't change anything. I just keep stepping up to the plate and taking my swings at bat. See, Mickey Mantle had a very strong understanding of seasons. He had a very strong understanding of problems and issues, and at no point did he shy away from those. But he knew that every year, around the same time, he would have the exact same issue. But he also knew that he was the home run king. So why would I make a change in my life when I know that the season has to come? And I think so many people end up coming up short. Well, I know people come up short because they're complaining mouths. I mean, I'll be very honest. I don't want to hear you complain. I don't. There's a lot of reasons why I don't want to hear you complain. The number one being, I don't complain, so shut up. I don't think anybody should be entitled to do something that I've already seen and done and said it's not necessary. It's an unnecessary part of the process, complaining. But people will complain and complain and complain and complain. They'll complain because they don't like the process. They'll complain because it's unfair. They'll complain because they think it will help. They'll complain because they want attention. They'll complain. Never do they once recognize that that complaining factor is not only taking away their energy, but it's also making people look at them in a certain way that causes them to start looking at themselves in a certain way. So Mickey Mantle says, I changed nothing. And that's a philosophy that we all should adopt. Change nothing. If you're doing all that you can do, if you're committed, if you're putting in all the work that you possibly can, then just understand. Simply understand. It's just a season. It'll pass. But I'll take a quick shot in the dark and I'll say that the people who are complaining are really not doing all that they can. They're complaining because they're not happy with who they are. See, there's fundamental keys and signs to kind of reveal the fraudulent, the fakes, the liars. See, I don't believe that I am any more blessed and favored in God's eyes than anybody else. I don't believe that. Therefore, I'm an equal opportunity thinker. I think everybody has an equal chance at this thing called life to have the best possible outcome. See, I've learned a long time ago that if I surround myself with people who will indulge in the same negative thinking that I'm thinking, then I am not necessarily benefiting myself. Now, if I get around some people that might make me uncomfortable and make me expand and think a little bit different, then I have a better chance of being able to rise above the situation, rise above my income level, rise above my where I came from, rise above what I think about myself, rise above certain status quos that have been known to keep people back. But yet you surround yourself with the same people year after year and you think that you're supposed to get changed that way and nothing happens. And then this complaining heart starts coming about. This complaining way of being happens. I believe everybody can do it. Me getting up at 1:40 a.m. I say 1:40. That's what time I get up, 1:40. I say 1:40 a.m. Everybody can get up. I'm not superhero. My skin is not made out of some type of space age elastic. My willpower is not derived from some piece of steel. The one simple thing that separates me from most, and what separates most from me, is the will. I learned a long time ago that when you line up more reasons why you should do something over reasons why you don't do something, then I think that you put yourself in a better position to succeed. Most people put their problems on a pedestal. I put the reasons why I need to do the opposite of my problems on a pedestal. Most people look at the problem for what it is. I look at the problem for what it's making. Most people look at the seed. I look at the seed for what it's going to bear. It comes back down to your perspective and how you see life. But if you don't change your environment, it's going to be real hard. It's going to be real hard to change your outcome. Because, see, I could have kept hanging around the jails, and I could have kept staying in the jails. Instead, I'm visiting the jails. I'm talking to other people who are in the jails. I could have stayed around complaining people and kept on complaining. Or I could have started making videos, separating and creating distance and space between myself and those people. And make content telling people that they can actually do better if they just change their mindset. If they just start making a bigger case for why they need to go in a different direction than making a bigger case for the problem itself. We all got problems. 4 transactions of mine didn't close last week. That's a problem. Didn't get my client in a home. That's a problem. But every day I sent them a text message. We will get you in your home. Every day. And guess what? This week we did get them in their home. Had I focused on the problem, I know this for a fact, especially in real estate, the problem would just got bigger. It would have just got bigger. But instead, I concentrated on how to fix it. And then that's when life starts happening. You can't be so problem-oriented that you can't see the solution. It's a good chance that you've picked that up somewhere along the way, and somewhere along the way, you heard somebody sitting on the stoop or on the steps outside, and all they did all day was complain about the problem and talk about the problem. And somewhere along the way, you thought that that was a part of the conversation in life that's meant to be had. No, you need to look at where they were at. Did they ever get off that stoop? Did what they were talking about ever get them any further in life than where you want to be? Because if it hasn't, good chance you should leave that away. See, I look at the people who I grew up with and the ones who were pouring into me as a child, whatever they wanted to pour into me. And I look at their life and I say, were they pouring into me because they wanted me to be the better you, or were they just pouring into me because they pour into anything? And it's easy to tell. Just look at how their life is. Look at the quality of their life. Simply look at the quality of their life. And it will tell you everything you need to know on whether or not you may have been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray. Right? Or you can keep those blinders on. And I think most people make those excuses and keep those excuses so tight to the vest because in reality, they don't want to face the fact that they can actually do it. See, when I started seeing a certain level of income, I had to remind myself because I knew that there was a chance I could actually start to malfunction. You didn't think if you made so much money, you would malfunction. Well, let me tell you something. It's very realistic. If you ain't grounded, your head ain't in the right place, you can become very dysfunctional. You can start drinking. You can start getting into the fight with your wife. You can start having random weird spending habits. You can start missing workouts. Like it just becomes a whole domino effect, all because you're trying to get back to a place in life where you felt miserable again. And you'll do anything to disrupt that happy pattern. My money is coming in good. How can I ruin that? Life is really happy. How can I ruin that? Relationship with my wife is good. How can I just screw that up? My relationship with my kids are going good. How can I mess that up? Business is flowing. My diet is going good. If you're not aware, you start looking for different ways you can screw that up. I mean, literally just muddy that water. But if you think about how Mickey felt, Mickey knew it was just a season. If you're doing all you can do, understand that the season will come and it will go. But the last thing he said is when in that season, when things are going good, triple down. Go for it. Because if you do the most you can when things are going right, when things start trailing off, you don't notice the difference. You only notice the difference when your pattern of how you did things stays the same and you never made the adjustments. When you start making more money, you slowed down. When the season came and money wasn't coming in abundance, you started complaining because you didn't have an overflow from when things were good. My business is going great, so I plan on doubling down. You got to double down.